Another break? Come on, guys, you're killing us here. What's up, YouTubers of the world? MegaGeek Mixer here to give you guys the last two episodes that premiered on Black Lightning. Yeah, I wasn't able to get to last week's, too busy and stuff, and I didn't get a chance to see one happening Monday, but I was able to finally get some time in late last night and make sure to keep all that stuff in my head after I woke up and everything. So let's go ahead and talk about it. And since some of these are and since both of these episodes are pretty much all connected together with the story arcs for most of these characters I'm about to talk about, it's a good thing that I actually missed it. I know that sounds strange and all, but hey, that's just how life can be sometimes. You miss an episode, you think that you're lost in everything when you're gonna just do it individually, but sometimes reviewing them all together, it works out. So let's enough of that though. Let's just go ahead and get into this. We'll do some real recaps. That first off, when I talk about some of these characters, I'll also shift into this week's episode because, like I said, some of the things that happened this week's episode started in last week's episode. So let's start off first off with Jennifer. Man, girl, God rest your soul. Please really realize what you're doing here, girl. Because first off, when she went to her father saying she's ready to be Lightning, I'm excited that she's finally going to be Lightning. I really am. But no, girl, I'm like your father. Let's not be rash here, because that's exactly what happened in this week's episode. She went and did something stupid and rash. She and her sister actually have that in common, because in last week's episode, when Anissia was taking care of a woman who was beaten up by a 100 gang member she was in a relationship with, she went out there and just like attacked that guy and told him to leave that girl alone and stuff. But let me just say, the choreography when she did that after she was leaving that place, that was beautiful. Man, did I love that scene. It was amazing. That was just hands down great choreography scene. And I'm just like looking, during that time I was looking at it, I'm just like saying, when these people were doing Iron Fist, why didn't they like look for people like them who really knew how to set choreography for stuff like that? Because, oh man, the Iron Fist could learn a thing or two from that scene right there. But either case, going back to Jennifer though, sorry I went off track there for a minute, guys. As Jennifer, she, first off, in this week's episode, she's in that pod, and we're finding out that she has she's stronger than a nuclear bomb. Yikes. And let's just say that is cool yet dangerous, as we saw later on in this week's episode, as she went out looking for Tobias, and it made her go to, first off, a little homage to episode 1 of season 1. That motel where she and her sister were being held captive by those 100 kids, and Black Lightning had to save them. Yeah, she went over to those guys after going to a bar she was at that was owned by the 100. And yeah, as one time went on, especially when she ever heard the name Painkiller, her power started to glow up, and then she actually passed out. And it turns out, like, it was actually what I was thinking it was until at the end of last week's episode. Oh no, this week's episode, when she went to her counselor and saying that that's her powers acting up, and if she don't gain control over her emotions, she's gonna explode. And yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I mean, because if her powers are that close or beyond a nuclear bomb, yeah, that's just telling you that, yeah, that's kind of one thing you can look around when it comes to powers like that. But there was a funny scene when she was in that little sphere pod where she told her dad that she can hear Uncle Gan. Well, not hear, but she knows what they're saying, because her sister Anissa taught her lip moving, so like she can read lips, she can read them. And that led to that funny scene where Jefferson's just like, oh man, he was just embarrassed. And then finally, I'm going to talk about that real scene that happened last week that Jennifer just nailed at it. And that was when she went back to school. There was this memorial for Khalil. And then, as y'all know about that new principal and stuff, he's that very strict principal. And yeah, by the handbook and stuff like that. Well, kudos to you, man, but you weren't taking it way too far. You actually tell them to take down a memorial about a kid who had his life going all so well for him. Then it got messed up, and he desperately wanted to get back on his feet again. That he'll return to anybody. It's natural for a teenager to do that. And that line that Jennifer said, Black Lives Matter, man, praise it, girl, praise it. Because that guy, boy, he was making me mad just telling them to take down that memorial. I mean, okay, yeah, he attacked the school and everything, but hey, Garfield High was built for people for second chances, to give people chances and everything. Okay, Khalil messed up, and yeah, he attacked the high school and stuff. And yeah, okay, maybe that makes you be like, maybe we still should be holding them accountable for stuff like that. But still, when they passed away, especially when they're in this dark spot and everything, you can't just hate them for that, because they're just kids. They're just teenagers. That's gonna happen sometimes. I was just so proud of Jen and all of those kids right there who were just laying down afterwards, still recording their phones. I'm just like, power to you, kids, power to you. And now let's go into my second spot, the main spot on what happened in these two episodes. And that is Anissia and Grace. They're getting more serious and everything. And then at the end of last week's episode, Grace left. And it was mostly because her powers were starting to act up. Her tattoos and her eyes were starting to glow up and everything. That in the end she left, and Anissia saw that, she took everything. And in this week's episode, she was desperately wanting to find her. She was super worried. I mean, there was that scene where she was crying and everything, and I could just feel for that girl. I really could feel for her. I mean, seriously, I don't blame her. She was scared to death. And then in this week's episode, well, we find out more about Grace. I wouldn't say if this is all, or maybe this all leads to maybe why she left, but I don't know for certain, but probably so, because it also might connect with what I'm about to talk about after this. But in either case, we found out that Grace Troy is a false identity. Her real name is Shelley Wiles, and she was sold, I want to say it, but when I heard that, I was just like, oh no. So I'm not going to say it, guys. I really am not going to say it, because to find out that happened to her, oh my God. But other than that, still, I don't think it necessarily talks to us about her powers, but what her background and stuff, yeah, I'm just like, poor girl, man, she went through a lot. But it was also great to know that, here's the thing, when Gamby was helping Anissia find that out, he told her that, are you sure you want to find this girl? And Anissia was like, yeah, she still wants to find her, because even though Grace didn't tell her that, Anissia hasn't told her about her being Thunder and everything. So yeah, of course she'll still want to look for her. I mean, come on. They were just kind of starting to get serious, and they just weren't at that point where they have told each other about their secrets yet. But this looks like this might lead into it, and leading to us knowing what Grace's powers are. Because some of us are still thinking, are they the same as they are in the comics? Because in the comics, she's an Amazon. But with what we've been seeing so far, it doesn't look like her powers might be the same. So yes, I'm glad they're finally moving that story along. But now we're going to go into the big thing that happened for this week's episode and last week's episode, and that's the fact that Markovians are in Freeland now. Now, in last week's episode, they tried to kidnap Lynn, and the reason they tried to kidnap her is because she's so close to getting these pod kids awakened and everything. As a matter of fact, one of them awakened from this week's episode. I'll touch on that here in a few minutes, but either case, Markovia, they've been at that for a while, and they just never got to the spot that has gotten over in Freeland. As a matter of fact, some of those Markovians tried to go after Jennifer's counselor, but she was able to stop them in her mind and everything. Yeah, and the Markovians, it's like they're at war trying to make sure that you're either with them or against them. And if you don't, and if some of these metas aren't on their side, they'll kill them off instantly. We were even told that by that ASA guy, Lynn's boss. But all I gotta say is, yeah, sounds like Markovia is just, whoa, they are really showing that they want these metas for themselves. But they're not the only ones who want that, because yeah. Here's the thing, Dr. Jace, of course, if y'all know her comic book history, she's from Markovia and stuff. And the same thing will go here in the TV series. But she's now been arrested, but the Markovians right now don't know where she is. But with all she can do, someone else has got, she also has someone else's attention, and that's Tobias Whale. Yeah, you see, right now there's a sort of secretly mixed battle going on here between the Markovians and Tobias Whale. So Tobias Whale, those 4 original pods, it turns out they were all part of a group that the ASA had called the Masters of Disaster. Now, from what I remember, those guys were shown back in the Batman and the Outsiders. And so, yeah, that's all I could really remember about them. But we were introduced to one of them this week, and that one was called Marcus Bishop, aka Shakedown. The reason he's called Shakedown is because he has the same powers as Daisy Johnson, aka Quake from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He has the power of vibration, and boy, let's just say that this guy, if this guy is one of the people that Tobias as well is going to have for his metahuman army. And all I got to say is, Black Lightning, you really better get your team together. You and Thunder aren't going to be enough. Yeah, you can bring Lightning in, but she still needs to train her emotions and better control herself. And they probably might have their new candidate who returned this episode that was introduced to us earlier in season 2, that being Wendy, the girl with the wind powers. Yeah, Lynn was able to awaken her and she was able to help her escape. But unfortunately, they weren't able to get all those other pod kids safe because they were planning to move them away from the Markovians. But since they don't know Tobias as well wants those Markovian kids, that's where Dr. Jace is secretly working with them. They took them away, and now all those pod kids are with Tobias Whale. Why? Well, first off, yes, he wants to have his own metahuman team, but also he's going in the route with the whole thing that's happening in Young Justice Outsiders, and that's the fact he's going to sell these kids to the highest bidder to get money off of them. So he's doing like a metahuman trafficking, making profit out of them just to get more money off of them. So he's getting an army, and he's becoming the biggest arms dealer in metahumans. Whoa, we got a lot going for us. This makes you wonder what's coming at the end of this season. But also, we have been given news that there's going to be a new season. It's been renewed for season 3, so what more can we expect going forward? I mean, the Outsiders team, we're going to see more Markovians, maybe even Geoforce or Terra. Who knows? All I know is that I'm loving every minute of this. This stuff is great. The human connections it gives you to the comic book connection, it all fits in so well. I cannot tell you guys how much I'm loving Black Lightning. These 2 episodes, just 5 out of 5, man. They really get you connected in this and everything. And I'm just like so happy for it. But I would definitely love to know your guys' thoughts on it. Leave them in the comment section down below. And if you're enjoying my channel, just click the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to be notified of when I make more videos. And until then, MegaGeek Mixer signing out. Bye!